Yo, what's going on, guys? If you couldn't guess by the title, of course, this video is gonna just be, I don't know how long it's gonna be, but Baton Pass has been banned from Sun and Moon OU. So I wanted to make a video on this. I know I don't really ever make videos on like events when they happen, like when something gets banned or released or anything like that. But I kind of wanted to talk about Baton Pass because I feel like a lot of people don't really know why it was banned, or they don't know the reasons for why they think it's broken. They just think it's annoying or something like that. So I kind of wanted to just make a quick video kind of discussing it, why I personally believe it's broken, just so I can kind of put some knowledge out, because I already know there's going to be some videos on YouTube which, you know, criticize this ban, or they're for this ban, but I know a lot of people are not going to use like the correct reasoning, and I want people to be educated about this and why like Baton Pass was banned or whatever. So as you can see from this post went up on Smogon about like 15 minutes ago, 17 minutes ago. Baton Pass is now banned from Sun Moon OU. So I mean, I guess we can just kind of skim through it, and I can kind of give my own perspective on it. So SM, with the introduction of Necrozma and Magirna, Baton Pass basically got the best 2-speed pass recipients seen in Pokemon thus far. This is very true. Because, I mean, Necrozma, for example, is extremely hard to deal with. The same with Magirna. Magirna is always found running a set of Calm Mind, so once it gets a speed boost, it really only needs Bolt Beam coverage to sweep. Magirna is extremely bulky, which is one thing that's huge, because not many recipients can kill it. Like, stuff like Heatran Fire, Magma Storm cannot kill Magirna, for example, even without Assault Vest or anything like that. Magirna is ridiculously bulky. It has Soul Heart, which allows it to get +1 special attack boosts, of course, every time it gets a kill, and that kind of thing. Necrozma, of course, has stored power, and you can't really break through it because of its great ability, and it's only always paired with Dugtrio, which it says right here, when paired with Dugtrio, because it always gets rid of T-Tars, Magirnas, Heatran, just stuff that could annoy it. So really the only way to really beat Necrozma is a Toxic, and again it says right here, Espeon is always commonly paired with it. So it's really just a matter of finding a good recipient. There are a lot of Pokemon in the game that are balanced by the fact that their speed isn't that good. Some of those would be Magirna. Obviously, Magirna has Shift Gear or something, but Shift Gear doesn't boost special attack. And that's obviously the problem with Baton Pass. With the introduction of Pokemon like Heracross into our metagame, we don't want Pokemon to be able to take advantage of these speed boosts, because they're not supposed to have them to begin with. Okay, these Pokemon aren't normally able to get this kind of speed, so Baton Pass, in a sense, really just kind of messes up the game as a whole. So what's broken about Baton Pass? Let's move on a little bit. It grants them free boosts, okay, without requiring speed plus nature, of course. It has incredibly limited counterplay, which I 100% agree with. A lot of people always want to say, why don't you use Haze? Why don't you use Dragon Tail? Okay, first of all, Dragon Tail doesn't work versus a sub, alright? Roar doesn't work versus Espeon. Okay, so there's those two out the way. Haze. Let's talk about what actually uses Haze in OU. Let me go to the viability rankings. Alright, we're here. So, let's look at this. Landers T, no. Greninja, I'm sure Greninja might get Haze. Does it have any place on a Greninja's moveset? No. And if you're going to say think outside the box or whatever, that's a really bad way to have to shaft your Greninja for no reason. Other options we have here are, I mean, I'm pretty sure Toxapex. Okay, Toxapex 100% gets Haze, okay? But you know what else happens to Toxapex? It gets trapped by Dugtrio and removed from the game. So that can happen. It's also heavily pressured by stuff like Necrozma and Espeon already. I mean, I guess they have their stored power will be unboosted, but obviously you're not bringing Toxapex in on a +1 psychic type of stored power. Magirna can just Calm Mind up. T-Bolt can do a lot of damage and that sort of thing. Toxapex, yes, it gets Haze, and it's probably the most common bond that runs Haze, but it's still not like an auto win versus Baton Pass. What else? I know Mantine is somewhere on here. What rank is Mantine? Let me control F for it. Mantine is B rank. Okay, Mantine. This is actually seen in OSD finals. Mantine's actually sort of slightly rising in usage. Wait, where'd it go? Shit. Okay. It's sort of slightly rising in usage. Again, Mantine is another Pokemon that runs Haze, but again, it's a B rank Pokemon. It's not commonly seen. It's also not incredibly consistent. There's a reason you don't see Mantine on multiple teams or very often to begin with, because again, it's not an extremely good Pokemon. It's a very niche pick that people use to counter team their opponents if, you know, they expect something like Scarf Keldeo offense, Volcarona, that kind of thing, because of course Mantine excels in that kind of position. But again, Mantine is not some Pokemon you just you splash on every team and it's always doing a lot of work for you. Of course not. So that's something to keep in mind when people give these kinds of counterplay reasoning as to why it's really just not like an auto win versus Baton Pass. Okay, so we got some replays here that they were kind enough to post in the Baton Pass thread to kind of, you know, detail why it's broken. So I just kind of want to, I haven't seen these yet, but I mean, I can obviously assume why they're here. So here we have, you know, this guy using a pretty, like, it's a cool looking bulky offensive team. Like, you can understand what it's supposed to do. Medicham the wall break, Superior to clean up, and then, you know, a defensive core of Heatran, Tapu Fini, and Garchomp. And you'll see exactly what the problem with Baton Pass is here. So he's able to, you know, just do his thing, sub up, pass into Dugtrio, doesn't get burned, okay? Because again, it's 30%, gets rid of it. Goes into Metacham, gets rid of the Duck Trail. That's fine because he can always go back into Scolipede. Alright? And he's able to pass it into Necrozma, and at this point the game is literally like it's over. He has the boosts. Tapu Fini very often does not run Haze, and even then it has the speed. This is the problem. Necrozma shouldn't be able to attain these speed boosts to begin with. There's nothing that this dude could have done to stop this sweep. There's absolutely nothing he could have done to stop this sweep. Okay? The Gyarados is obviously not Mega, so he has no Dark type. There is nothing you can do to stop this sweep. The second this Necrozma was given speed, it was over. Because what on the opponent's team is able to stop it from passing speed to begin with? Nothing. And that's the problem with Baton Pass. If we're going on to more Stall versus Baton Pass, I mean, these are two AIDS playstyles to begin with. Obviously, the most boring things to watch. But it's commonly known that Stall is completely invalidated by Baton Pass. And yeah, you can be like, oh, well, that's awesome, right? Because, you know, Stall's lame. Yes, obviously, Stall is like boring to see and all that kind of stuff. But Stall is 100% legitimately more of a playstyle than Baton Pass. Stall, to an extent, actually does take skill and game plan and thought process. Baton Pass does not whatsoever. As you can see, you're able to get +4. Just passes into Espeon. Even if it gets paired, it's over. Earthquake, but it has the key berry as you saw, and then it's over. He just forfeits because it's a wrap. There's nothing he can do about this. Moving on, we have this guy. You know, he's using a cool, bulky offensive team, but it doesn't matter. He gets up rocks instantly, goes into Hydreigon, goes into Scolipede. Yup, gets the speed. Yup, and then okay. To be honest, he sort of misplayed here, going for Stealth Rock. But regardless of the case, Baton Pass into Manaphy at that point was a GG regardless. Because look, even if he does whatever he does, say he HP fires a Scolipede again. If you Baton Pass into Manaphy on the HP fire, because I don't know what his Landorus was. I don't know why he wasn't Earthquaking, whatever. Because even if you Earthquake the sub as he goes into Manaphy, he just Tail Glows again and you lose. Because it has +4 speed and thus Keldeo is not faster. And there's no counterplay. Yep. So he just forfeits. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Baton Pass, it has this effect. Okay, so now that we kind of went through some games, so you can kind of see what the problem with Baton Pass is and how it's, like, a lot of the time people think, like, oh, you know, Baton Pass, it's lame, of course, but, you know, it's only really used in ladder and that kind of thing, but no, it's finding its way in tournament, and that's a gigantic problem. Obviously, there's a difference between ladder and tournament, but at the same sense, they're sort of related. I mean, they still represent the metagame. Okay, even if they're two different things, they represent the current metagame, and that's the problem. If it's going past ladder, and the ladder matters too. Like, a lot of people think, like, oh, ladder doesn't matter, whatever. It's just people, like, fucking around. But that's not true. The ladder definitely matters to an extent. There's a lot of people playing on it. And a lot of those people, the whole community of people playing this game and, what's the word? Like, shaping the meta, it's not just dependent on, like, the 100 people who play tournaments like myself. A lot of it matters on ladder players, too. Because a lot of people, you know, they play this game. And it's not just a tournament thing. But why ban Baton Pass rather than stat passing, speed passing, Scolipede? Let's see this. Our tiering is meant to be. Did we ban speed boost off basically? No. Okay, so one thing with Smogon that a lot of people seem to understand is that they don't complex ban, which is something that I personally do not know, despite being on the council. It's a lot of rules and stuff like that, but they do not complex ban things. That's the reason stuff like Aegislash was banned. King Shield's obviously broken on Aegislash, but they banned Aegislash as a whole. Same thing with Greninja back in ORAS. Torrent Greninja was obviously not broken, but they ban it as a whole. They don't just ban the ability or something like that. They want it to be concise, and that's the reason they don't do all this, like, what's the word? I don't know what I'm trying to say. They just don't do this. They don't do complex banning. That's what it's called. So Baton Pass as a whole, it's been abused way too much lately in tournament, and that's one of the reasons why there's been a lot of like public like outrage over it and why it's a thing to begin with. And basically through tournament this year, it's basically been outlined why it's so broken. So I hope this video kind of like, I'll put a link to this thread in the description, obviously. I mean, I sort of didn't do a good job at the end, I'll be honest, but, what I want to say is, I just want to make this video to pretty much describe why it's banned. A lot of people I know are not going to really understand, or they're just going to be like, oh, it's so stupid, use Haze, oh, people just want to complain all the time. I'm not like Smogon's advocate, okay, like, I'm advocate, is that the, whatever. Okay, I'm just trying to keep people educated about the metagame as to why it got banned. Because again, I know people are going to start whining about this. People are going to be like, oh, it should never gotten banned. They're going to have garbage ass reasoning. They're going to make garbage ass videos about it. And I just want people to be educated about this and just know like, oh, okay, this is why it got banned, blah, 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 blah. And like, I just want people to know stuff about competitive. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. It's probably like 10 minutes long, but yeah, later guys, I'm out.